morning, traders, and welcome back, of course, to Trade the Pool. And it's a great day, a great week. And guess what, guys? We got another funded account. So, yes, starting it right, guys. Go finally getting funded on Friday and funded account ready to go, trading ready live in front of you guys right here. So hey, shout out to that. Really excited to go ahead and do that. And we're going to be looking at some different trades, the hottest stocks on Wall Street. The door, it's coming, and we'll be looking at Open. Ooh, OPAD, other names like that, SoFi, that have been rocketing. There's so many trades that have been good here. I got OPAD definitely on the radar out there. Am in a trade right now, a day trade. So let's go take a look at that action. We'll get to the playbook. We'll get to the sunrise report. There's not much on the sunrise report, so let's just go towards my trade, which is a little bit too heavy this morning. I will say that. I got a little bit caught in this QLGN, got a little excited this morning, I will say that. So let's see if this play works out, but I am long on this name, QLGN, off of the bottoming here, looking for kind of like an inverse head and shoulders reversal back to the upside. It really needs to get going here, though, if it's going to do that. That's going to be a strong push there through 9 on this reversal action. Let's see if it can do it right here. Back towards like the 850s or 840s below. That's the concern and the washout. And I will take a hit. I got 200 shares here. I'm average closer towards 912. I did just do a bad buy on this one. I will say that I did do a bad buy on it. I was day trading this one. Just give me 1 second here. All right. So yeah, so I was day trading this one and I added too much on this first breakout. I got way too excited as it was up there to 950s, and I was up a good amount. I was up there, let's say about $70. So I added there, and that was a bad ad, guys. I kept like kind of putting it right behind it, and it just took off on me. This is why I talk about sometimes in the pre-market, if you're going to get in and you're going to load in, you got to be quick. So definitely got caught a little bit on this one, just seeing what happens and playing it out right now. Of course, this one might give me a nice little hit to start the day, but hey, we'll keep trading, guys. Had a great week last week, one of the best weeks of the year. Definitely, I would say best week of the year combined with the swing and the day trade. It was an amazing day. All right, we'll see. Amazing week. We'll see what happens out there. There's a lot of trades to look at, and we'll see what happens to this OLGN. Will it make that move back up? We'll see what happens. All right, let's keep going. Let's see what else is out there. We got a lot to take a look at here. Let's go towards the trade ideas that I got for you guys today. We're going to be taking a look at OPAD. That's definitely on the alert out there. We'll see what happens. OPAD is definitely a stock that I'm watching here. A lot of traders are watching it, though. If you look at the hourly, look how this is set up here. So the trade is perfect, right? You can see how it's coming off of the prior levels. Now, we did get this undercut here through towards the $4, but it didn't really undercut that 4. So don't keep it twisted that at some point it could do that 4 test. But right now, I'm thinking maybe we're attempting this breakout already. And if we're going to attempt this breakout, we can look for it above 5, going towards like 550s. Eventually, a move towards 650s. So I don't think it's just going to be ripping and fast. So this is going to be one that maybe I, kind of hold on to. So we'll see what happens with this one. This one could be in the swing trade on the new funded account. We'll see what happens there. OPAD definitely on the alert. Open out there, definitely going to be one that I will be watching. I am getting an alert there from OLGN, so might need to just get out here. Let me go ahead and see it. It's about to get me out here. Let me just get the sell order ready. All right, more than likely just about to get out of this QLGN and take a hit here in the morning. But hey, it happens, guys, right? We'll see if it holds here. I'm literally cents away from getting out of that name. I'll let you know once I take the hit there. But open, of course, also on the radar. Big breakout recently, right? But now pulled right back. So this is where it needs to kind of reload. We'll see if it reloads. It could do an attempt there below 9. I think you could get a quick sweep to 850 and then a recovery. So be careful on that action. Am getting sweeped out there in QLGN there. About to get out right now. It's definitely getting a beating right now. So it's bouncing right now. I'm trying to go ahead and just measure it and get out of here. Definitely needs to get a huge push up here if I'm going to stay in it. But yeah, it's getting me out, guys. Just give me 1 second here. See if I can start to get this, to piece this out. Little bounce and recovery, but not much there. Definitely bad ad on this one, guys. Should have definitely made this one a winner, and I added a little bit too much too late on this one when it started to rip. That's what's costing me in QLGN this morning. We'll see if it does get a little bounce here. I'm watching just the lows to see if it just pushes off here. We'll see if it does do the push off. QLGN definitely washing on me, and it could keep washing. I could be caught on this name. All right, let's go to other names. RCAT also on the radar out there. Just want to put that one out there because it has pulled back. This is one that I'm watching on the swing trade also. And there's other trades too, guys. So let's keep watching. There's a lot of trades that I can take a look at. And we're going to be watching a lot more of these swing trades right now with the funded account. Need to be focused, need to be getting after these and taking some good bets, especially smaller bets and a lot of them. That's going to be the approach with the swing account, guys. All right, we'll see what happens here. Grail is another name I'm watching. I talked about this name last week on how it was setting up to run with Tempest. Tempest AI already up there towards the high, but I was looking to see if Grail was going to get up there, and that could be a big run. So Grail is definitely on my alert today to look for quick pullbacks and a move right back above that 42. We'll see what happens in that name, but definitely Grail on the radar. Lithium charge. I'm looking at this LAC move. This LAC move, not a bad little break back to the upside. A lot of bottoming on this chart tells me that volume's already loaded in. The big boys are in, and they're ready to watch this start to get back up there. So, yes, I could pull back to 3, but other than that, I could see this lifting off to the 350s and not looking back. Maybe making a move back there towards 5. Who knows? Could go back to $7. I'm going to be watching for a swing trade on LAC, and this is a perfect one for the account. So we'll see what happens with this on LAC. Why? Because it's $3. It's cheap. I can take a good amount, and I can actually risk below the 260s and let this work. We'll see what happens there in LAC, Lithium of Americas. And of course, you guys know how I love some lithium names. SQM still hanging on from my breakout alert off of the 32s, and that when this came back up, it's holding this 40 down pull. Now I'd look for a move back towards 50 and above to show me that yes, it's time for lithium. And it's time to see these stocks lift. And there's other lithium names you can watch, right? And I've been watching these names like CCJ go higher, uranium names going higher, UEC, there's a lot of uranium names higher. It seems like metals and minerals overall get continued lift right now. So we'll watch for this and look to see if it takes off there, guys. All right, guys, it seems like it's one of those days where you just got to keep the battle on, and definitely battling and taking a major hit there to start the day here in this QLGN. We'll see if it does bounce back, but man, it's right there. My stop has just been hit once. It didn't get triggered there, but we'll see if it comes back up there. It was right on it there, but hey, we'll see if I get that to finally start to come out there. Let's go, let's go. That was definitely a tough move there. Got caught watching with my pants down, as they say. We'll see what happens out there with this stock. We'll take a look at some of the other stocks. We'll go to the Sunrise report. Of course, you guys see me a little bit distracted, and that's because I'm caught in that trade, right? All right, we'll see what happens there, guys. I'm looking for some type of lift off this bottoming action here. If it's going to bottom, it's right here, and if not, it's going to flush through. And it's right now or never. So we'll see if we get it or not. It's not looking good here. A lot of volume came in on this too. And definitely that ad, just not the place to be, guys. So I just added in the wrong spot there and got myself caught. And if I would have stayed in my original position, this would have been a really small loss. Instead, it's going to be a pretty hefty size one here. All right, guys, let's look around. Let's see what else is making a move there. Looking around to see what else I can trade there. Tesla, of course, going to be on the radar. That's gone up there to the 430s. IonQ, the quantum names, so many names so hot, right? Rigetti, looking at those names. And then SMR, I was watching to see if this would get going, and there it is. It's starting to push there. So I like SMR and NNE as two other names to keep a watch out. NNE is actually consolidated for longer, and that could actually cause this to give you a bigger lift. We could have inside days, but definitely keeping an eye on this. It just looks great out there, guys. All right, guys, we'll see what happens out there, but definitely, man, hasn't been fun, at least to start the morning with this day trade. But this is going to calm me down for the important trade, right, which is, of course, the funded account and the swing account today. But that's what you need sometimes. A little bit of some humbling action there in that QLGN today. All right, we'll go to some other action. We'll go to the sunrise report. We'll talk about what's moving out there in the markets this morning. Of course, the futures were slipping a little bit this morning. The SPY was down, right? And we'll look to see if we bounce back. We are drifting a little bit. We'll look to see if we get that bounce back there. Dow futures down about 0.3. S&P futures down about 0.3. NASDAQ, same thing, with a little bit more, about 0.4. Last week, of course, not a bad week there. We'll see what happens with some other action here. But definitely, it has not been looking good here, guys. This tells us that that we're in this period right now where we got to continue to watch to see if we get this continued strength, right? We've had this easy winning, and easy winning doesn't last long a lot of the times. The Fed's first rate cut since December has, of course, investors betting on 2 more cuts by the year's end, as traders will be combing through the upcoming macro data to see what happens there. Let's go on Pfizer. Pfizer did do a bet here. They're taking a bet on weight loss. They're acquiring Metsera, MTSR, a weight loss drug maker, for $4.9 billion in cash. Metsera's stock up 57% pre-market. Pfizer ticked 3%. And there's a deal expected to close in Q4. CEO Albert Bourla says that it propels Pfizer into this key therapeutic area. So they're joining in to give competition to names like NVO and LLY, of course, Eli Lilly. Now the question is, will you hear some mentions between Pfizer and Hims, maybe? Hims, of course, recent breakout right back to the upside. Could this continue strong with this news? It's definitely going to be in the space and something to keep a lookout for. There's the stock coming right back up, is QLGN. So I'm still in it, guys. I'll stay in it for the time being. But definitely got to keep a very close eye on this name now. It needs to just start getting back up there towards 880s in a fast manner and not breaking lows. If it breaks lows, I want to go. So on the 1 minutes, the lows now need to keep holding higher lows, higher lows, higher lows. Let's see if that trend can continue on some names. All right, let's keep going with the news and different ones out there. We can take a look at Lux shares, but that's more to do with AI and Apple competition in the long run. But Apple is on a breakout, guys. I talked to you guys about how this would be a buy the rumor, sell the news on the event, and then it continued breakout. Look at this. It goes down and it gets the continued breakout, right? It was the big boys that were loading up on this. When you got this volume right here, these were big boys adding, and now they've taken a big bet there in Apple, guys. There was a big bet placed on Friday, and I think they're betting for what? New all-time highs. And I talked about this. How fast would it take us to get back towards 250s and above? We're almost there. This is the key of trading bigger stocks, guys. I know a lot of traders trade these smaller stocks, but we can't forget the higher quality names, right? Because the truth is, these names are going to continue rocking and rolling, guys, as long as the market can go higher. So names when, like, let's say Google was in the dirt because, but search is over with. That was when it was over here, right? In 25, right here in May, even July. Boom, rip out, 86%. Apple. It's dead. Apple's nothing. It's over with around here at 200. It's going back to 100. Boom, right back up. There it goes. Amazon is one that I actually think could do a very similar move. It's hanging out right here and now could make that next step up. We'll see what happens. Microsoft could make another push here. I like Microsoft. I was watching for a 512 break on Friday. Wasn't fast enough to catch it. It did break that. It went to 519. We'll look to see if this can continue through the 520 and just start lifting back towards the earnings high of 550. I think this is definitely names you got to continue to watch. The big boys, right? Those are the ones that are going to carry this party. NVIDIA could be going with these, right? And could keep going. AVGO, we'll look for these names to continue pushing along. And I think you can even look to see AMD, see if how that pushes right back, all right? Can these names continue to party, right? Intel, of course, now pulling back towards the 2950s. Now I can start to look for an undercut and rally under that 29. I did take a trade on this last week, got cut out, but that doesn't mean that I can't look at it again. It just went to 29.09, like 29.04. I would love to see that undercut 29s and then come back up on a red day, let's say. So we'll be looking around out there. OPAD getting a little bit of a lift towards 5, guys. This one could get going in the pre-market. I don't want to miss it, so I'm watching it here. And there is some volume trying to get in now, so I'll keep watch on this OPAD here as we are getting some fluctuation of volume there, some orders for 2,000 shares at 495s. So definitely some step ups starting to happen. There's 510 now on the offer. Let's see if they start taking it. All right, looking around out there, guys. Let me know what you guys are trading at out there. What's up? Good morning to you guys. Vicky, what's up, man? How we doing? Vic G in the house, Jay Angelo, and others. So say good morning to you guys. It's good to see you guys, man. Let's keep partying. Let's rock and roll. Of course, a new funded account. Ready to get after it, guys. I also got a new swing account, guys, that I'll be able to go towards, guys. So if you see this switch and you don't see the position anymore and you see a 0-1, that's the day trading. But I got a new max swing that I do want to take some swings on. So there's stocks that I will be looking at that. Like right now, I don't feel like buying OPAD in, of course, the other account, right? But I could take a shot here in OPAD in the new swing account here. Doesn't seem too bad here. I would love to get a $5 entry, but let's see if we can just grab a little bit here and it just takes off here. So let's just try to grab a little bit here in the pre-market. See if it just takes off. All right, I think we're going to get at least an attempt there to 5 again. So I'm going to try to get filled in at 5, like 502 right now. We'll see if I do get a fill there on the swing account. I just don't want to miss this name. I feel like it already made that attempt to 490s. And if it gets back above 530s here in the pre-market, it can just take off. I'm going to take the first attempt here, guys. I'll just take it on the swing account here. This is a new swing account. So 200 shares, boom, let's take it. Let's see what happens. I'm going to set an alert to get me out on this thing through like kind of 470s. But for right now, I'll keep an eye on it and I can come back to it through kind of the 490 spot. All right, we'll look to see if that breaks kind of above towards the 517s and just continues, but took a little bit of a swing in the new swing account. I do want to start building that algo that I've talked about too much on here. So now that I got this new swing account, I'm going to start building it. I got access to Signal Stack, right, because it's a new account. So let's get after it. We're going to take some shots on that. Let's go back towards the day trade account here and keep an eye on my red trade this morning that I got to manage. And just keep watching it here. All right, it is trying to make a little bit of a comeback, but I'm just keeping a very close eye on that name. We'll see what happens there. All right, guys, it's 9:01. We'll talk a little bit more about some news. There's really not too much out there this morning, so let's kick things off. Let's get to the show. I know Michael's ready. I know I'm ready. Let's get it. Start that countdown.
Wants 200, baby.
You ready to get back to the trading action?
You aim, you shoot, and make money.
It's going to be a great day. You guys know where you're at. What's going on, traders? Let's get it started. Let's bring on the man himself, Michael Noss. What's going on, man? How we doing?
Oh, we're doing great. Happy new all-time highs again for all that celebrate. Can't stop, won't stop.
Can't stop, won't stop, and they keep on shorting, right? They keep on
Hey,
shorting, baby.
it's insanity. I was actually looking for I want to bring up the presentation I just did for everyone, but it's nuts. It's nuts. Someone is gonna, yeah,
So
we're gonna hear
someone's
some
gonna pay the
things.
price. That's all I gotta say. Someone's gonna pay the price.
Let me see if I can I got it here.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
so I went through. So one thing I do, and it's something we kind of do every Monday morning because I think it's important now, right? It's not always important. Positioning's like sentiment. There's times that it doesn't matter at all. When it's neutral, there's no difference. So let's do this. So right here's the SP 500, and this is the commitment of traders data. I'll just explain for people who don't know. Every week, your broker, if you trade futures, sends this data to the CTFC, and they just compile it. And they say this is the amount of net longs and net shorts that exist. And of course, those equal out always. But what we're looking at is the net short from the dumb money, the speculators, right? These guys that you hear reports every single year that failed to beat the S&P 500 again this year. And if you just look through history, are generally speaking wrong, right? They were the most long back here, and then they've been shorting this entire run up. And if you guys have been tuning in the whole time I've been saying I ain't selling nothing
I ain't selling.
until these guys cover, because every dip they have to buy, and
Yep.
it's not common that you're able to see where people exist and that people are short and that they have to cover. So you just have to stay on the other side of them until they cry uncle, which will
Oh yeah.
happen. I'll do this 1 week and there'll be a big spike in this line back to neutral, and you'll go, okay, right? They blew up, they're out, it's time to move on. Same thing I've been talking about with open, right? I'm going to sell the rest of my open when one day I log on and the short float has ticked back down. And not only is it bad here, it's bad even worse in the Russell 2000, where they covered a little bit a couple weeks ago, but then they've shorted again as the Russell 2000 is hitting new all-time highs. So people are betting against it. And what's really cool, so this one's the Ethereum chart. I thought this was super interesting. So Ethereum, we talked about how it was doing exactly what it should do, comes back to this all-time high and just hangs out for a while. Had a bit of a downtick yesterday, and there was like $1.8 billion I read liquidated from the Ethereum market yesterday, which is, these are the games that big crypto traders play with each other because they have even more information about positioning. But you can see right here, this is as long as they have ever been in the futures market in Ethereum, ever at this high. Now, this doesn't include this tick down of like 5% we've had overnight. That makes me think that was somebody preying on this, blowing these longs out. Because you got to remember, in the futures market, it's all about leverage. So you can have
Oh
long
yeah.
liquidations the same way you can have short liquidations. If you're too long, it's just as bad as being too short, right? And then
Yep.
lastly, oil is really interesting here. So oil, the net positioning in oil is always long, and that's because the net positioning by the commercial hedgers is always shorts because they have to short, right? If you're a hedger, you have to be short oil all the time because your risk, and I always use the example of like an airline company, your risk if you are trading in behalf of an airline company is that there's a huge spike in oil. If there's a huge drop in oil, who cares? It's just the airline's just going to make more money. So you're constantly hedging against a big spike in oil. So that's why they're always long here in this chart. But they are less long than they've ever been. So if this zone that we've been hanging out in oil forever, if this holds and starts to drift higher again, they're just as wrong as those people that are short the market. So again, if you want to know, and then same with the AAII investor sentiment, everybody's still bearish. I don't know why everyone's still bearish,
Wild.
but everyone's still
Wild
bearish.
time.
So once we start to see all this stuff turn, this is when I'll kind of get more neutral on things because I want to take advantage while these people are so incredibly wrong.
It's something definitely to look at, and I think that one thing that was interesting, and I saw a lot of it. It could have been option expiration, but there was a lot of volume on these charts from, of course, Friday's action. Like let's say like Apple. I mean, the shares traded is just insane. It's 180 million. Um, so I think, of course, the quad witching could
Yeah,
have
it's a
for
lot.
playing with this, but definitely a lot of volume. So, is that the juice up move here? That's the question, right? I think there's
Maybe.
a lot of like adding on a lot of strong names, not, and that's what I just see out there. Apple had a lot, Palantir had a lot, right? And these come in through with option expirations. They could also mean a little bit of turnaround. We don't know, but I can tell you at least the party's been good. So we got to be a little bit careful because there's a lot of traders out there acting like they know it, and that's when I start to try to be a little bit more humbling on myself. And you're seeing like these options traders just putting out like crazy results. We got to start taming ourselves a little bit at some point, right?
So yeah, this was what interesting. This is as of the most recent expiry. So what's interesting? So this is kind of like positioning in the options market, where right? It's public data, open interest on all these different contracts. So then, generally, what you look for is what they call max pain, and this is Swaggy Stocks. It's for free here, and you can type in any ticker. And the idea is that the most amount of people will lose the most amount of money if you are in this zone right here. And that was on Friday, funny enough, on Apple, right where we closed. And again, what they do is they just take, here's all the options that are bought for calls and here's all the options that are bought for puts, and they find it was like 245 almost on the nose, that if Apple closed at 245, the most amount of contracts that exist will expire worthless, and like $51 million or something changed hands from people who bought options, which is generally retail and poor retail, into the people that sell options, which is the market makers, right? A lot of people think stock market makers focus on the stock market, and stock market makers don't. They don't care about the stock market. They have to take trades either long and short on the stock market, but then they immediately offset that by selling options.
Yeah.
And that's how they make their money, is because, right, if I'm forced to buy 100 shares of Apple, if I, sell a call against that, then as long as Apple stays around this price, then I make money on the theta decay and all of that for the covered call. So we had it closed pretty much exactly at this price. So when it comes to those triple witch, quad witch, if you've got a couple stocks, it's always interesting to kind of plug them in here and just see. Again, it was hilarious. It was like anywhere between 245 and 250. There was like $55 million or something that just went from retail's hands right into Citadel's. And funny enough, that's exactly where it closes.
I'm looking around. I got out of that OLGN. Definitely a decent sized loss there, 205. But we'll look to bounce back on the day trade side of things. But definitely excited to kick things off in the funded swing account. Got a new swing
Yes,
account,
congratulations,
and
man.
it's time to work on that new swing account and see what we can work with on the algo side.
Ooh,
On that new
cool.
swing account, we got to build it. We gotta have a little fun,
Yeah,
especially with the swing. We get a little bit more of that kind of advantage that we can have with smaller positions. So we're gonna have some fun. We don't have too much money to work with, but hey, we'll make it happen, and we'll have some fun with it. And looking for these undercut and rally kind of strategies, and time to start getting to work. So. Well, look forward to seeing more of that here, guys. What I'm thinking is we'll do is we might like trade for a while, right, and then maybe take like a 20 minutes towards the end of our segment to like kind of just work on that in front of you guys.
I think that'll be cool. I think it's a good idea. It's good to kind of bring people in because I don't know if you read, Mitch. I think it came out on Thursday night. The NASDAQ saying by 2026 they want all their securities to be tokenized across the entire NASDAQ. And that is 100% according to the article that they wrote that I read. is to usher 24-hour trading.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it's not just because before, for people who've been following, there's been a lot of 24-hour tradings, but before it was all different like markets and things like that. It was, Steve Cohen wanted to open a market, and there's one that was backed by Elon, and they wanted to open a market, and these were all going to be tokenized
Yep.
securities that did 24 hours. But now it's the NASDAQ basically saying, okay, kind of force their hand, right? We have to catch up here. We have to continue to do this. So come hell or high water, come whether you like it or not, next year, there's the beginning of 24-hour trading. So, I know there's some people who are bummed about it, but I just kind of say too bad, right? It's
Yeah.
they didn't like it when the things became decimalization. That wasn't fun because you couldn't just make half a point on every trade every time you did it. They didn't like it when Reg NMS. There was a whole bunch of things that were not fun for us. But we don't have a say in the matter, so we just have to kind of go with whatever the market's telling us, and it will be 24 hours. There's no doubt about it. So yeah, I think starting now to work on systems, not just for Mitch, but for the audience, and that'd be great if we could teach you guys. Starting to work on some systems, I think, is the only way that people survive without incredibly burning out really, really fast. Is you make a list of stocks that you think that if they do X, that they'll do Y, and you just wait, right? You let
Yeah.
the robot watch it for you. Check a few times a day, right? Forex traders figured it out, so I'm sure we can figure it out too.
Yeah, it'll be an adjustment, of course, whether you like it or not. I mean, that's a whole nother ball game, but it's gonna be here, right? Whether we want to or not. So we gotta be able to trade, guys. Agri, I think this is a cannabis name or cannabis products. I'm not too sure, but AGRI, I'm seeing it set up here. Watching at this one here, just broke 8.
Oof.
Interesting name here. Got up there towards 11 earlier, so I'm looking at it here. Maybe for this 8 break here.
They are going to raise $500 million to buy AVAX tokens.
Oh.
Well, if you I don't know, if you look at AVAX,
Talk dirty to me.
it's one of the better. So this is another crypto treasury to meet all the. It feels like, and the thing is, I would never use this to call a top, but it feels like in 5 years we're going to be looking back and saying, remember all those stupid crypto treasury companies? But right, you want to keep those thoughts as far out of your head as you can, because you
Yeah.
don't want to use them to miss that 5 years of craziness. One of my biggest mistakes is someone told me to buy a board ape back when they were like 25K, and the
Yeah.
things ripped to like 500, and you know what I mean? I was
Nah,
just like,
it
this
was
is
the
stupid.
move. It was the move.
So,
It wasn't dumb.
so get
This is one to watch
get
above
silly.
8. 8 guys. I think it could still drop to 725 here. But above 8 could be the breakout, right? So you're going to get pops and drops around that 8 spot. So
Well, the fact that it's
see
doing
what
that
happens.
well with AVAX down 5% today, that's showing some strength, right?
I like the coin too. It's not a bad one, guys. You got to know the coins, and you got to know which ones they actually use. Like where there actually is use cases, right? Like we're not talking meme coins. If I start seeing these things invest in meme coins, that's when we're going to be a little
Yeah.
bit. That's ninth inning right there.
Yeah.
That's when the closer comes in.
At least for now, they've all been some form of utility, right? You
Yeah,
can
some
argue
form,
whether or not
like
there's,
a coin that actually works, right? Let's just be
yeah.
honest. There's coins that work, that actually have infrastructure, like there was some thought process behind them when they were made. And you see it right there. There's that wash that I was a little bit concerned of on Agri. It went right close to 8, then drops right now to like 750. This can go to like 7 even and then rebound back towards 8. That's the key about a stock like this that's moving fast. You have to know the range that it can be playing in. When you're playing it fast and heavy, you need to be also fast and heavy on decision making. That's just the key. That's why people don't play these. That's why they stay on the sideline, a lot of people, because they're not as fast decision making in those ranges, right? Where it's 20, 30, 40%. That happens in seconds, right? So,
Yeah, these are definitely a trade small and watch your butt. I think there's going to come a phase. I don't know when that's going to be, but where these are like the easiest fades in the world. Just when the market's over it, when it just no longer cares about these, and there's
yeah.
going to be so they're raising
Yeah, like
550 million.
QMMM is going up again today, right? Like at some point, that thing, I don't see it $90 stock. I don't see it a $300 stock. I don't see it a $50 stock. But that doesn't mean that it can't stay up here for some time.
Yeah, and I
That's
think
the hard part.
I'm wondering when because the reason, and I was talking to a couple great traders when I was on my trip there, and they said the reason these things are going so crazy is the how hard it is to short the currency itself.
Mhm.
So there's no place for arbitrageurs in there just yet. And once they figure that out, which you better believe there's a whole bunch of hedge funds saying, okay, we have to figure out a way to instantly, because they told you they're going to raise 550 million in cash and they're going to use that to buy AVAX. If this stock goes up too much, there is a arbitrage opportunity to buy the stock and to short the stock and to buy AVAX, right? Knowing that it should be, you could hedge yourself by doing that and there could be arbitrage to be had there. They're just trying to figure out the mechanics behind that and the way to be able to do that pretty instantly, because it just becomes a bit of a problem because you need to have money on the stock exchange, and then you need to have money in a crypto exchange and be able to have bots. But essentially, eventually, what will happen is once the arbitrageurs enter the market, volatility usually just gets sucked out of it entirely. So the question is, how fast are these guys going to be? Because again, it seems like a pretty easy move to short one, buy the other, do so small that you're just doing that across. You're just scanning these different instruments and waiting for them to get misaligned from whatever cryptocurrency they're holding at the time, right? Eventually, you could just trade BMNR versus Ethereum,
Oh, yeah.
and it should run in lockstep. And that's what we're seeing in MicroStrategy, where MicroStrategy has been dramatically underperforming Bitcoin for a really long time now, because people have just figured out, okay, well, I can short MicroStrategy and buy Bitcoin and make that spread while kind of the NAV reduces to zero.
All right, guys, let's take a look at maybe some setups before the open here. Looking around in the chat, I'm seeing Alex Fernandez in the chat. Good morning to you
What up?
out there. What's up? What's up, Taki Talk?
UEC is talking about reporting tomorrow. Yeah, these uranium plays, I don't know. They're just no touch for me. They're too. I own still a little bit of SMR, and I'm not going to do much else with it. Do you see OKLO on Friday?
Yeah.
Nuts.
Yeah, dude. A lot of this we were already seeing, though, right? Like I was telling you guys with CEG was starting to get going. The energy names were starting to get going, and then yeah, OKLO just kind of squeezing up there and ripping higher.
Wild.
This started also NNE and SMR.
Yeah.
Look how NNE started going, SMR started going, and I was watching SMR to recover that 37 on Friday. But man, it was a good one. It was a good one. Now I think you start to look. I like NNE a little bit more because it's had so long of consolidation between 30s and 45. And yesterday you ripped on Friday. You ripped right towards that 46 area. I think we got to be careful for inside days, right? But these are names that I definitely will be on the radar out there. So names that can struggle in this week. I think we might get an early pullback. Then look for continued strength.
Yeah, and speaking of, right, inside days, that's exactly what we're seeing here in the market. So I know everyone got real excited on Friday. Again, new all-time highs across the board. But it looks like today, at least for now, is an inside day. So when I'm looking for just to see what happens on the market today, is just we need to break yesterday's range. Until we break and hold yesterday's range, we could just be putting in an inside day here. And that makes a lot of sense if you take a look, if you go to just the Forex Factory. Forex Factory, spelled that wrong. There's nothing today, right? There's nothing really. There's a bunch of FOMC guys speaking, but they already did their. I don't think any of this matters anymore. I think they're pretty much done with. We know there's going to be. He kind of really outlaid what was going to happen till the end of the year. So, and then Tuesday we've got a bunch. We've got Powell speaking. We've got a whole bunch of news. So could be a little bit of chop day. So I just want to. That's again. You can always tell we spend a lot of time trying to determine the type of day, not so much even the direction, but
Yeah.
are we going to get a crazy up move or crazy down move, or are we going to trade chop? Because I think that's more important than anything when it comes to how to decide to approach the day. Because if you're going to have nothing all day, well, it just means you really got to focus on small caps or things that are really in play. If you're going to have a big trending day, you can go a little bit to the more larger caps. You can trade some of those. I think we're going to have a pretty choppy day. I've got my bot all
Yeah,
loaded up.
a little part of me, yeah, a little part of me feeling like the quantum names are already giving us a little bit of insight. QUBT coming down already. Ion Q, I think, is set up here for either a pop and fail or drop right out the gate. So I'm looking at that one as one of
Right,
my trade ideas.
right in the middle of yesterday's range there, across the board here.
Yeah. So what I like on this one is that like everyone's been watching these quantum names. They just feel like they're all strong. They're all strong, and then all of a sudden, you finally do get at least a little bit of pullback day. And I think today is a perfect day for that to happen, and then set a range between like 70, maybe going back towards 62, and then just that's the 9 EMA there, and then start to go sideways up here would make sense for me after an extension, right? So I'm starting to look for sideways consolidation to start to play in because we've been looking at so many breakouts. And if I look at the SPY is telling me this also. I don't know if you see this like kind of how I see it, Michael, but I see the SPY as kind of like had this recent run from, let's say, the 8th towards the 19th. And now we can kind of go back to creating a range between like 665 and like 657, and then start going sideways here. I think would make sense as we got in that next lift. And now I'm looking to not continue on the lift off, but maybe play a little sideways action. So.
Yeah, certainly could. Again, I'm just looking at the positioning data and just seeing how insanely wrong these guys are.
Yeah,
And
it's interesting.
the longer we stay up here, the more we got to remember. If you're short, you have to pay interest on that short.
Yep.
So it doesn't necessarily have to rip higher in order to make them cover. It could if it consolidates. That's and for me, it's just this whole positioning analysis has served me so well this year that I don't want to abandon it until it kind of evens out, which will be always. I know I'm going to be a week late on it, but that's fine. But yeah, for the foreseeable future, I've just kind of this is the ES, so the S&P 500. I just kind of have this high and this low marked, so call it 669 to 673, and other than that, we just hanging out, right? We gotta do something, and until we break this high or we break this low, I think we could definitely be in for an inside day, just because there's not really any news that we care about out there.
Yeah. Yeah, I
So
agree. Ion Q, definitely one name that I'll be watching out the gates there. We'll see what happens. AMD above 162s was on my radar out there. RCAT above 1050s is on my radar. UMAC, huge day there, man. Big rip out on Friday. Talked about this trade, guys, way before it happened. I talked about it on Tuesday, telling you guys that I've been looking to see these stocks start to really run after they started to break their consolidation. And there it goes. UMAC went. RCAT's been back and forth. So looking to see if RCAT can really get back above the trend line, which is right above it around, let's say, the 1070 level. The trend line runs through. So I would love for it to kind of take off Wednesday's level of 1156. Let's look to see if we get some high flyers. A big name in this space, AVAV. So that's one name that I've talked to you guys about also when this move happened. And look at that move. Since we talked about it, up about 12%. So not a bad breakout there and a bigger quality name, right? So this is why I like to know the higher qualities and then the speculative names, right? This is how you can play it.
yeah, again, relationship trading something that will always exist, right?
Oh
It's,
yeah.
your the sector, there's whether you're short term or long term, right? The sector has done, if you read the studies, there's like 90% of the individual moves, right? You cannot have a strong a strong name without a strong sector, right?
Oh yeah.
So, you could have the best, I don't know, automotive company in the world, but if the automotive sector is weak, you're screwed. So there's going to be a lot of this kind of stuff moving insanely together.
Here's another area that I was calling out: cybersecurity. Talked about Snow. Talked about Zscaler. Talked about how these names could get going. They just did it. Right there it is. Snow, a nice little push. I like about Snow's chart, it did that undercut towards that 220. It put you that hammer candy right at the bottom and then just started to come right back up. So now I'd approach that pop that we went to and we never filled the gap. So let's go back to the resistance, which is 250. That's kind of the target there for Snow. And it's at 230s. Still room to play this. Just got to catch it on a pullback, right? If it could come back towards like 225s today, look great.
Yeah, my hack holding is doing very well. That's
Yeah, your
something I've
hack.
got to.
Yeah. And then
I
Pan W could pick back up, right? So like this is how it goes. Leaders take like a little bit of a sidestep or pullback a lot of the times, and then the other ones fly, like CrowdStrike. Did you see that one flying last week? That
Yep.
was the lead move on Thursday that led the move on Snow on Friday, right? Leaders to laggard, guys. It happens all the time, right? So the leaders, I would put Pan W as the top dog, right? Then CrowdStrike right behind it. Then Zscaler. Then Snow. Kind of put these in an order in the way that you're seeing the momentum come to the name, right?
Yeah, these feel like later stage AI plays to me, right? Because we're
That's
just going to
exactly
need
what it is.
more and more and more
More and
as
more. If we're gonna have more and more AI infiltrating the code, right? Well, then guess what? We need more and more cybersecurity. So if there's anything that I do believe in the long run, is having some piece of some of these companies, right? Like I don't
yeah,
know which one it is,
that's why I
but
picked the ETF on this one
you
because
know
I'm
what I
not smart
mean.
enough to
But
know.
you have to have some type of access to these names. In the long run, it's going to keep going. Take a look at cyber, right? Take a look at that name, right? It is absolutely insane when you take a look at this one. CYBR. Take the look at how this one took off, man.
Yeah, that's wild.
That's wild, right? Right, Michael? That's wild, man.
Well, and this is one of those things that, again, I'm not a fundamental guy, but one guy I was talking to said,
Cybersecurity, man.
listen, if and when economic conditions get tight and you start cutting things in your business, cybersecurity ain't going to be first, right? It's just, you're not going to go through and say, what's the first thing we should do as a bank or a casino, as something. It's not going to be, hey, let's cut the cybersecurity firms we're paying. It will
Yeah.
be, you'll get rid of employees and things before you do that, because you cut
All
your
right, market's
cybersecurity, you get
open.
hacked.
Let's get trading, team. Let's get trading.
All right, let's go. So yeah, so on the SPY here, I've got the low marked, I've got yesterday's high marked, and that's just, while we're inside that range, I'm just not super thrilled on either side of things. And right, the 2-day VWAP, I just need to understand, hey,
I
are we
agree.
I think it's going to be more about looking at what sectors are moving than the actual individual name. So the 2-day VWAP we're have sitting up there. The opening range reaction is so far bullish. So the first candle anyways to the upside. We can see if we can get some sort of movement outside of that.
Looking at Agri right now, it just went up and down between $7 and $7.60. So definitely some range in that bad boy.
So my first trade already came in with a VERI short. Don't know what this
There's
guy is,
Agri
but
back down through 7, and Kapow, she goes. She just got slapped. Agri down big there, out the gates.
yeah.
QLGN, same thing. They came after the small boys today, guys. Be careful out there. Some shorts right out the gates there. The only one I've seen going up, Box L. Box L, I think it's a if I'm to be right, I think it's a cloud space, but I see it in the tech sec communication equipment. I remember this one. I just haven't talked about it in a long time. Boxel, nice little push above sevens.
Yeah, just looking at the overall sectors here across the board. Pretty much everything is
Red.
negative, right? It's,
Look at that ion Q out the gates, guys.
but
That shouldn't have been
also
the move.
important to know that everything is still within inside yesterday's range. So it's good to just kind of focus and say, oh, yeah, we're down a bit. But, if we look at the SPY as a whole, even though we are down 0.15%, right, this is yesterday's range. So every single sector, the Dow is actually the closest. RSP is outside of yesterday's range, but even right, IWM's hanging out near yesterday's low. So, not
Ion Q.
not something crazy, right? Not something I'm too worried about. There's no huge move that I think we really got to focus on yet. Just to kind of keep everyone chill and just know that at least for the SPY off the bat, the first move has been higher. We're now through yesterday's VWAP here, which is an important note, just showing that we're a little bit strong.
Good position so far. Day trade in Ion Q short.
Yeah, I've got this VERI short. That's the only trade the bot has put through so far. I'll keep you guys posted, but I've been doing less and less when it comes to the discretionary side as I study, and my one discretionary trade today has actually been weighing me down quite a bit. So I need to, I think I'm just going to open a separate.
Just gotta do a
eval.
one share discretionary trade.
Yeah.
Just to keep reminding you.
Yeah, just so I can lose again
Just
and again and
quick
again.
reminder, a quick reminder. Just take one with it, so it's not that bad. Here's a lot of bleeding out the gates. This is what kind of expected for me. So I'm jumping on that Ion Q. I'm actually thinking about adding here. I'm up about $100 here, but I'm just gonna look for one more bounce. See if they just wash it here.
I don't know what a DGNX is. It's not in Trade the Pool, but I shorted some of it in my personal account.
That's a Digimon.
Yeah.
You got a Digimon?
Diginex Limited. Now, what did they YOLO? No, I don't see anything.
All right, I am seeing AMD have a decent day out the gates here. I talked about that one, could get going. Daily chart has a nice setup there, recovering 158 today. So what I'd look for is if it can come back closer towards that 158, now that it's up towards 160 out the gates. I talked about it. There it goes, guys, just shooting out the gates there. The eyes are working out there. This was a potential swing trade on AMDL for the live account. I'm still looking around out there, guys. I want to really be careful with the trade, right? But AMDL would be off to the $10 spot. You see a back above 10 today, 950 being the support. So anything below 10 could be an entry for AMDL if I wanted to take this AMD trade.
Tesla, some good relative strength there, just rocketing off the jump.
At the gates. I think that one might be a little pop and drop in the long run. I think this is a little bit outrageous, but that's how Tesla runs, right? So
Yeah.
you don't get in front of it. You wait for it to break the short-term moving average, and then we can start having a party on the short side.
Because, yeah, it's important to note, too, Tesla is the worst performer of the Mag 7. So if we're talking catch-up trades, that's a good place to take a look at because he's been doing nothing if you compare it to the rest of the guys. But, yeah, solid breakout here on the...
Adding on Ion Q, going for it.
On the 30-minute, solid breakout.
Going for the bigger short on Ion Q here now.
SPY, we're just consolidating here. We did back off a little bit after hitting that 2-day VWAP. We're just inside pre-market range. We're inside yesterday's range. The bot just picked up some NNE.
NNE, let's go.
On the pullback here at...
I like it. On the long side?
Yeah, 42.50.
I like it. The undercut of the 42 could be the undercut to come back through. So that's kind of my layer there. 42 back above 43s would be, for me, the look.
Yeah, so this play is essentially just looking for, there is yesterday's range right there, and then it's looking to pull back within the prior day's range. So it's kind of like a 2-day VWAP pullback kind of play. And yeah, this is one of those. All the stuff that I've got those big back tests out have been doing fantastic, and then everything else that I've been doing has been doing shit. So I'm just focusing more on those. But yeah, the idea is that in most cases, this thing will not break yesterday's low. In like 57% of cases or something like that, it won't break yesterday's low. So you buy it kind of in the middle of yesterday's range. So shout out Steve talking about that kind of 50% pullback. And then from there, because if you go from the low to the highs here, you can see that's like the 50% fib pullback where I got in. And then you're just betting that it's slightly above that today. And then what happens is most of the time you get nothing, not real big up move, not a big down move. Then every now and then it hits that 50% mark, turns around, and just rips all day long.
All right. Keeping an eye on my swing here. OPAD down a decent amount back towards the 40s here. So just keeping an eye on OPAD for it to start coming back around here.
The IWM really selling here, hitting new lows of the day. So the IWM is definitely the slowest. We have the Qs that it's ramping through high days. Probably a lot because of what you were mentioning there, Mitch, with the AMD, and then also Tesla, right, are going to be big components of the Qs. So Qs are almost positive on the day, only down 0.1% now. SPY doing okay as well, and then we have IWM selling here. So just seeing again the divergence. These sectors are not moving together the way they did during the kind of sell-off that we saw, which I'm totally okay with.
All right, guys, Ion Q actually slightly red here. I'm moved back and forth. I got up as much as 200, so I'm just watching it here because if it really flushes through the 66 level, I think she's gone towards like 64. So I'm trying to be patient. Sometimes you got to be patient, especially if you're looking for a bigger short to start working in. AVAV is another one that I'm seeing come down here that looks like a potential one that's trying to come back today. So that could be a short on the 277 spot. So stocks that were really hot are kind of pulling back. RCAT could get going, though. That's actually trying to recover the 1030 spot. Might take a shot off of the 1025 spot with RCAT. Saw some good conversations around the market about that.
Yeah, bleeding there on IWM. Let's take a look here by sector. Gold just continues. Gold's just crazy. Semiconductors still up on the day and moving higher. The Freedom Index is doing well. Pretty much everything else is down. So the question is if and when these things are going to potentially turn. MSOS is about even. ARC not doing well, even though there's a huge component here in Tesla. So that's just showing that everything else is doing much worse than ARC is. And yeah, the Q's pulling back just a bit. Almost got to even there before pulling back. Tax mentioning open.
Definitely seeing some downside. SMR really getting hit.
Okay, so if I was still doing my discretionary trade, I think open here would be interesting. Look at this big undercut of the pre-market lows, and now it's looking like it's trying to battle back through.
Yeah, it's not a bad one to look at, right? I've been keeping an eye on it. I think it's definitely being watched for that undercut of 9. So I'd look for it to undercut it one more time, test like 880s, then come right back up. So create that third bottoming and then come back through 9. It's going to test some people. I don't think it's going to make it quick.
Let's take a look here. I haven't looked at, I don't know when the short float updates. I know it's every 2 weeks, but let's go AMC, someone is saying. I haven't, Tax saying, I haven't heard anyone talk about AMC in ages.
All right, market's starting to come back here. I'm looking at RCAT as the name that I might take on the live account here.
Ooh. Yeah, the SPY getting back. Looks like it's trying to battle its opening price. See if it can hold on there. It's been a bit of a choppy morning, just like we talked about, just like we mentioned. If I go to like a 1 minute chart, you see it came up to the 2-day VWAP, rejected from that. The Q's definitely made it through. It's chop action, and we don't have anything to kind of wake us up. Is the big
There's
thing,
our
right?
cat starting to perk around the 1046, 1050 level. Talked about it. There's the 1050s. I hesitated a little bit there, guys, so we'll see what happens there. But it's a nice little setup on that one with 1050 recovery on our cat. There she goes, 1054s, and there she's getting the volume. There's the buyers are there. They just stepped up. You saw a bunch of flow in the thousands, like 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 shares. So there's 1060. I was thinking about taking it at 1035, risking off the 1020s, and there's the 1060s, 1070s, and boom, there she goes. Money Mitch with the eyes, but not the trade, but at least the eyes for you guys out there. There's the RCAT move, boom to 1070s. That is starting a little bit of the AMD. I'm looking at AMD as a potential, and I'd look at like UMAC to see if it can go red to green. But that's definitely was a huge move yesterday. I don't expect it to keep going, but if it did just take off, that would give me even more confidence in that RCAT. That was a good one right there.
Nice pullback here on
Grail
QUBT.
also.
I took that's a swing from the systems. I just looked over and I noticed that was in my brokerage account here at like 1870s. So just kind of playing off yesterday or last week's big move. See if it kind of pulls back here.
AMAT, big rip out, guys. Up 3.5% overall, 1.8 out the gates. Nice move. That tells me more and more. China deal coming soon.
On top of the...
They know the China deal, man. They know this China deal already. They know the ins and outs of it. That's what the price action's telling me.
Top of the NNE, there's SMR right here. Is picked up some SMR and NNE, so it's playing a lot of these QUBT, just playing a lot of these pullbacks, just kind of betting that these aren't going to completely fall out of bed, but you know, you're going to get these little dip buys in a lot of these names. At least that's what I'm looking at, mostly what the system has done this morning. And that's a lot of, again, what my systems are doing currently is they just look at and they say, okay, what were the biggest movers in the prior day, and then what are kind of statistically significant areas that we could take a look at and play against. Right? These are not to say that we know any of these things, but just that they're significant zones.
About to get out of my Ion Q short if it gets above this 67.75. It's like wicking there, wicking there, wicking there. So it needs to turn around right here. If not, I'm going to get squeezed out of this. I stepped up to the plate, so this is on the day trade. If I do get cut out on this one, it'll be the last trade of the day because of that early $200 loss. So
Popped you to show. Yeah, for me, up a little bit.
is our cat right back down to 1050s. So seems like we're getting a little bit of that chop move.
Just those 3 trades here.
That Agri coming back through 8 looks interesting.
SPY looking better. It's perked up after that little pullback. So we're back through the 2-day VWAP. It's challenging highs here. Let's check on our... Yeah, IWM bouncing. Qs are bouncing. So we're getting a big bounce here across the board on everything.
Long the Agri in the new swing account. I'm going to take like a $50 risk on this. Starting to pop there. Looks good. Still got OPAD also. Risking about 6. How much on that one? About 100 on that one, OPAD. But there's RCAT lifting again there. So there's strength out there, guys. Yeah, there's some strength out there for sure. That Agri starting to pop there. 840s now. About to get squeezed out in Ion Q. I wasn't even watching it here. About to get cut. There you go. Got cut there. Day trade, I'm done with, man. I had an ugly day in the day trade account. I'm trying to short on this strength here on Ion Q. It just ripped higher. And I went to go look at the swing account. By the time I was back there, that thing was shooting through. So
Yeah,
that's how it can go sometimes.
the more accounts that you have, right? I think
Yeah, you're
even
trying
more
to
and more.
balance, trying to balance. That's just a part of it. Like I'm missing RCAT here. RCAT's going higher now towards the 1080s. I could have bought this at 1030s. This could have been the first kind of green trade in the swing account on the live one. It's just a lot to balance right now. I'm trying to do a little bit of a mix between three accounts.
So far, all three, my SMR, and go through SMR, NNE, and whatever VERI is,
Dude,
uh, all working out. So
this
3 for 3.
Agri just went up to 880s, down to $7. What the hell happened there? Holy moly, that was wild. That was wicked. That Agri, guys, stay away from that. That's ugly. Took a $50 hit there in the new swing account there, but the thing went up and down. And I was trying to even put out the stop like on the break even. It went to like 880s. It was way away from where I got in.
Wow.
And it came down in a hurry. If you were big sized, you are not getting out there. I'll tell you that right now. You did not even get a chance to get out there.
Yeah, it's been a
OPAD's starting to come back, though. There are seeing some squeezing out there, guys. So try to find the stocks that are squeezing and not struggling, right? So there are some stocks that are squeezing. OPAD now starting to look a little bit better. We'll see if it gets to 5. I think it's going to do a little bit better than Open, but Open, what did it do? Went back to that $9 spot, that 880 spot, like kind of testing down. Now I'd like to see if that comes back through 9 or 905. That could be an alert on the upside. We'll see what happens. RCAT continuing now 1080s, almost 1090s. Definitely a miss there on RCAT, even though it was right in my realms. I was watching it. There it goes to the 880s, 1085 spot. UMAC looking good there. It also popped. Remember I talked to you how this one needed to stay strong to kind of really take that RCAT move. There it is. UMAC now 1360s. They can't say I don't watch them at least. These were definitely names on the radar there. Doing really well.
robots, right? More robots, the better. And you can
And then
watch them and let
Grail
them trade.
on the alert today, right? Was a stock on the Playbook up 6% there out the gates there today to 45. Up with Tempest also. So if you're looking for stocks that are leading up there, Grail on the Playbook today, leading the action there. 890s now showing up on our cat there. That was definitely a mistake move there. Should have got in there on the 1050 spot there on our cat up there towards 1090s there. So just got to take it easy. That was the trade that I think was the best looking one this morning. I was caught between OPAD and kind of looking at that chart, RCAT. These were the names that I kind of liked on the live trade. I took the swing on OPAD. I did not take RCAT in the live account and going to regret that one. It's up to 1090s and going.
All right. So now I'm going to
Tesla
do
pushing, AMD pushing.
a little experiment here where I don't even look at Trader Evolution once I've been watching it and I know the bot works. Keep myself out of trouble. Let everything work. So yeah, riding a lot of these nuclear plays with SMR and NNE, and then just those 3 trades today. So I'm going to keep a close eye on both those. They're working great so far.
Yep, I like NNE especially. At 42, now 43 is recovered, right? So now I like it here for the strategy at least.
So 3 for 3 for now. Two longs and 1 short. So I expect one side of that to be down by the end of the day. But just trying to do my best to teach myself how to detach. Just like, okay, it's working, and that's what I think you need to be here to monitor if you're doing a bot thing, is to make sure. 'Cause sometimes you see me go silent where I mess something up or something's broken. I have to research that. But one good thing that's amazing for the way Signal Stack works and that I like is that it usually sends you an email if it tried to send something and it failed. So it's like more you're just monitoring your emails more than anything else. But yeah, I always recommend watching just for a little bit, just so you go in, say, okay, I'm just checking, to make sure that everything is triggering correctly and, triggering in the right place.
Mm-hmm.
And then try not to watch the P&L too much. That's one bit of feedback I think I'm going to give to Michael. That bar on the top that constantly tells you your P&L, I want that gone or obscured in some way. I hate.
Yeah, so what you got to do is you got to create your own desktop and remove everything, pop out everything, and then you'll be able to remove it,
Yeah,
right? That's the only way, Michael.
I
So
know.
that's going to be your only way. You got to pop out everything and then just have it sitting on the screen there. If you pop it out, you can hide that, you can minimize that window, and then you won't see it no more.
Because I don't, and I think it's a big or a good tip for everyone out there is just try your best to hide, to obscure P&L numbers the best you can, because unless you're going to take action is always my thing. I don't want to see a piece of information unless there is a chance that I'm going to take action on that piece of information. Other than that, get it all away from me. And I'm not interested in any way, shape, or form. Get it gone. Because it's going to potentially make you do something, right? It's going to it's going to incentivize you to do something. And
Oh yeah.
for me, I don't want to do anything. So kind of like you have, Mitch, I just have my position window detached and popped out, and I have everything else minimized because it's just not. It's the only thing I care about. Right? That I guess maybe I should pull out working orders here too, just to make sure. Make sure I don't have any weird orders outstanding.
SPY climbing still. Qs are climbing still also.
Yeah, a little bit of a dip and rip. We got a long way to go to get to yesterday's high, and that's really what I'm looking for. If we go here, take a look at the SPY. Let's pop over to me here. No, I'm not Kevin. There we go. All right, so I'm looking at here. These are the lines that I drew. This is yesterday's high, and this is yesterday's low. And so as long as we're in this zone right here, we're just inside of yesterday's range. But so far has been very, very strong out the gate, just completely just ripping here. So the question is, do we get to, and that's 664.5. Do we get there? And then what, if anything, happens when we get there?
All right, guys, going to take the first trade in the swing account here.
Ooh,
The live.
back to
I can
you.
get it here.
Real monies.
All right, taking ETH in the real count here on the bottom right, 100 shares.
Nice.
Gonna risk off the low here, right? So the idea is that, I don't. What the heck is this scan fan thing? Sorry about that. Something on my charts. I got another chart.
Ethereum. Yeah, Ethereum's looking nice up here. Again, it's doing exactly what it should do, which is just chop around like crypto does very violently, but chop around at these all-time highs. So if this recovers, turns green, and gets back through those all-time highs, Ethereum is looking great.
Yeah. So that's my idea here, right? Is that, hey, what if this just gap down is just a washing of the bulls, and now it really gets going? Everything else is getting going in the market. Why not this start taking part of that? Look at the AMD move. That one's beautiful too. RCAT got to 11. I probably would have sold it there just because it's just an easy rip and sell. So we'll see what happens on that one. But here you guys have it. And I also got a kind of day trade, smaller one, ETHU, the leverage. The reason I don't go to ETHU, is, of course, is that the expense on this swing account, it would be taking way too much money. So this gives me the ability to still take another swing and still keep the risk and reward in play, right? So want to see this start climbing though, and just get away from me, right?
Well, maybe give Tom Lee a call. Say, hey, man,
I won't be mad at him.
let's get some buying going.
Look at
Come on, man.
BMMR, right? Yeah. Look at SBET. right? As names that could lead, that could maybe show us, hey, this is strong, this is strong, this is breaking out.
Say, hey Tom Lee, let's do another raise. Grab another few billion. Just gotta turn off my camera a second here. Yeah, just
Oh,
give.
OPAD going, guys. OPAD is going. That's why I had the swing on, guys. There we go. That one's looking good. Nice pop on OPAD, guys. Look at OPAD. Oh, did Michael just get the boot?
Oh, I'm here. I just need to re-sign into my
There's OPAD, guys,
my
lifting the
broker.
560s, guys. Was on the playbook today for an undercut of 5 and rally off of that exact move happened there. So I hope you guys were watching that one. Looking really good here.
All right, I'm back. There we go. It's a problem with having my phone be my camera and my 2FA for my broker. But yeah, everything is turning and reversing nightlessly. They kind of wanted to scare people, I guess, off the open, and away she goes.
Oh, yeah, they just scared him.
Say, let's do a little bit of gap down. We have IWC, which is our micro caps, have actually just turned positive. IWM is also very, very close to positive here. And let's just zoom out here. There we go. Yeah, so there's IWM almost gap, and IWM was one of the weakest here, where it hit lows and continued, and then all of a sudden reversed, and now is pushing and breaking, getting only down 0.5%. So now outperforming the Qs, outperforming the SPY, outperforming pretty much everything. And again, IWC of all things is the only one on my list here of major ETFs which is positive. And those are the micro caps, the little tiny guys doing fantastic. So more of the same, more of kind of what we're seeing here. SPY looking great here. If you just take a look at the 15-minute chart, first two up solidly and getting close to the pre-market. So there's really nothing. You have to look at like a 2-minute chart to see that it pulled back here, hang out around VWAP for a while, and then ripped. Looking anything longer, it just looks like a straight line higher.
Looks good here on ETH. Let's get it going. OPAD looking really good. 560s now on OPAD.
Yeah,
so up 9% on that name, right? So like that was a great trade there. It could have been also on the live, right? It just the key was it undercut, and I was already in on the eval, so I just kept that going. There's ETH looking good. I could add to this on the live, right? Like right here, but it needed to be close. I like to add just when I'm starting to win and then hold really tight once I'm in that add, right? This point, just let it ride for me. And this gives me the ability to just actually let it work here. Looking for a breakout above the 39.70s and then it going towards like $40. I wanted to get to 40 quick on ETH.
Yeah, once it gets above, so here's the
gap
Ethereum
spot, right?
Well, you won't see
There's
the gap,
no gap there, but
on the Ethereum as a whole, but this huge low right here, 4,200, and we're right back there. So we undercut that. We went all the way down to almost 4,000. Now we're back up to 42, and that was this huge support zone. So if we get back above that, it means a lot of people probably shorted or got out in this zone and are just dead wrong.
All right, doing good in that ETHU position that was a bigger one, right? So just trying to let that work here. There you go, looking good here for the break of the 39.70s. Let's go, come on. Let's go ETH. Let's just get on the wild side of things today. It's definitely some wild stocks, man. So just try to keep with the flavor of the day and what's doing well. Some bigger stocks actually lifting too. That's actually helping it, right? So it's not just small names. That FLNC, look at that chart now, guys. Oh, what a pretty stock, man.
What one?
I love that. The FLNC chart. Oh man.
Look
At that. Oh. Remember, I talk about this name countless times, guys. Countless times. Look at that breakout from 750. Oof. What a beautiful breakout. How's BE doing today? Pulling back a little bit. That could be an opportunity to look at of a stock that's been super strong. Q is still trying to push to it. Can we get to 600 without no stop? We'll see. Microsoft starting to pull back off of that attempted breakout. Apple's pushing though. That's doing pretty well there. Google trying to push there. Tesla pushing 443s almost.
Yeah, that it's funny to know that you're in a stock where at any point the CEO can just come in and rip it. What are we up from his buy? Just trying to, yeah, another 15% from his buy. So at any point he wants, he can just go, let her go.
Send it.
Yeah. Which, yeah, it's good to be in. It's good to be on his side anyway. Just because that was $1 billion. That was nothing. That was something he found in his closet.
I mean, it just added to his position he already had, right? It's not like he didn't have one. So.
Well, yeah, and he added $1 billion out of like 400 or something crazy.
Yeah.
Like it was nothing to him.
Yeah. So. Eh.
Oh, Steph, good job. Shorted AGRI.
Oof.
Oh, yeah, I didn't read all of that. Went back up to 11. Yeah. These things are crazy. I just don't. I am very impressed by the people who figure them out.
That one's massively being manipulated this morning. I will tell you guys. That move earlier, that was mass manipulation. So you got to be careful with that.
One thing I was watching here is, so this is the anchor, this per pink line is the anchored VWAP from this high. So the average price of people who bought at the worst time. And you can see it keeps like smashing up against that and failing and smashing and failing. So it almost feels like there's a system kind of filling a water here as well, right? Like just we got a big order going on here and we're just playing against that. Open.
Back up a 9. Back to 922s. I talked about it. Would it hit the 980 area and then just come right back up? That's it. It's been doing well. Stair stepping now. It's not breaking out, and then, nor do I expect it to. I just need it. I think if that stays towards like 950s, 920s here, I think it just kind of stays around here. Not expecting a huge run on open today, but I could at least see an attempt there towards the trend line. We'll see if we get that attempt here. You see that starting to push there, trying to make an attempt towards 10, and maybe pulling back a little bit there. But right now, open still looking good.
Yeah, I'm just holding the last bit and just wake me up when they cover or the thing gets back to my entry around like $4. Right? Those are the two. Just like let it go. Speaking of, I may be stopped soon on my old fart coin. May have come all the way back down. I'm in at 50. So it's been dropping pretty hard here from 90 cents to 60. So I could be taking a break even on this one.
Trying to really focus in on of course, the live account here. First trade. Ethereum holding well, just put in a 15-minute candle, close near the high end. Now definitely don't want it back through the VWAP. That gives me a really good risk to return, right? So now just looking for ETH to make the move. If it doesn't, it tells me to get the heck out. Right. So I'm going to probably reload here on OPAD on the other swing account. Just because I'm up in the green, and if it starts to go back to the highs, it gives me a really, really great trade. Would look for open to make a little bit of a push too with this OPAD. So looking for OPAD to start making the move. Let's go. RCAT, really nice pullback, continued. That was a great look today. Just didn't play it. I got to give myself a little. Got to be able to handle that. Got to be able to nail that one. RCAT was such a pretty daily setup. It's just was too like off focus with OPAD. Then the smaller ones sometimes take your eyes, right? And then that's what happens. You miss a play that was prime, which was RCAT today.
SPY just did a little pullback there, and now it looks like it's coiling back back to highs. Let's take a look here. Grab this one. IWM is almost positive, turned positive for a second, a little bit of a pullback. Now it's working back up. So across the board, we are back. It looked everything's back. Oh, except my fart coin. That's still down 12%. I was hoping for that to come back too.
All right, let's see if Ethereum really wants to make the move. At this point, I'm looking for a breakout above 3970s, or I'm just gonna get out break even. Like, so I'm giving myself the chance for this to push. Not, I'm out. Simple as that.
Everything is just, I'm like going through my scans and my holdings and everything is way better than it looked this morning. But just everything's like flat on the day. Like, you know, my swing account, I'm down 0.5% on my swing account, like my personal account, after all this, but I was down maybe 1% or 2% this morning. So just showing that everything kind of evened out, right? They gapped us down, they pulled it back a little bit, and now we're holding strong. This is like the high vol account. The low vol account, I'm just down 0.1%. Try to keep those things separate to keep myself out of trouble. Yeah, so we just had the Qs just flip positive here for a second. Now it's back down, and we have the SPY trying as well. So it went. I just saw it here on my screen. Just flipped green and then flipped red again. So we're just right there. And then even the Dow, which was really lagging us today, is kind of real comeback here. So I don't know what was hitting the Dow so hard. If UNH had bad news or something, but the Dow was a big lagger today, and that's coming back as well. So I wonder, let's go around the horn with some sectors with XLV. Yeah, that's what's happening. So healthcare is down the most of all the sectors here. And then XLF, yeah, that's lagging as well.
I
So
actually have
definitely
healthcare green from the open. At least for me, I have an equally weighted basis, but
yeah, green from the open. I just mean gap down. So
yeah,
right,
yeah.
we're just seeing if we're having the SPY go green, and then we're having healthcare down still 0.5%.
Pfizer was the green story in healthcare today, and it's doing well on it.
Better little
Join the
blue
drug,
pills.
join the weight loss drug life, man. It bought out MTSR, yeah, and that's doing well. That's recovering also 54.
Yeah, those things are. I'm pumped for the change that these are going to make. I'm really pumped. I don't know. I forget which one it is, but I want to keep an eye on it. The myostatin inhibitor, where you can just basically go in and it's like steroids, but not bad for you.
Yeah. All right, Ethereum trying to make the move here. Q's trying to make the breakout. Are we going to have this day where we don't come back to VWAP? Those are the real breakout days. Q's looking like it wants to do it, where it hasn't gone back to the VWAP so far. It's hanging out on the 9 EMA. Let's see if we get expansion back towards 600 or pullback back to VWAP.
Well, and like we went over this morning, right? I went through the weekend. I did the commitment traders data, and they shorted more. So if we are going to hit highs, it's just going to be more pain for those people. And I am here for it. Like I'm loving this global short squeeze that we're seeing, where everyone in the world decided that these tariffs would be horrible and shorted the market, and they are all turning out to be wrong. I'm certainly here for it.
Yeah, the question is what tariffs? I don't think anybody even knows what the percentages are anymore.
Well, and yeah, it just
I don't even think Trump knows what the percentages are anymore. He'll probably have to ask somebody, be like, yo, so how much do I have on this country again?
yeah. Before I go to my meeting, what are we good or not? Is that?
You don't think that happens? I 1000% bet it, man. That guy
He's
he
no
does not
idea.
know. He has no idea what the hell he put on the McDonald's of islands of McDonald's and the penguins.
So
How are the tech companies viewing that H1 visa news that was this morning? Amazon was down on it. It got hit a little bit on that. It's coming back.
it's like, but the whole thing with all of these policies, I don't think anyone knows which of these is going to actually be a policy or actually be a thing going forward. And no offense, but it looks like my robot's taking the other side of your FLNC, so it just took a little short
No,
here.
I mean this is a good time. This is a good time to do it, but I don't
Right
know
under
about
10.
now. This thing's up to $9, 9.92. It's
That's
it's it's on a takeoff, man. But hey, can't blame it if it gets it here.
I don't even pay
I'm just
attention.
mad I don't have a swing on it anymore. Because
Right.
what happened was on Friday, I was already cashing too much into the swing account. I was trying to get funded, right? So I was like, well, I'm just going to leave this one alone, right? I'm not going to add and take another position. Like, what would it done? It really wouldn't have done anything. But yeah, FLNC, beautiful move.
So I've just tested with that one too, just because I wanted to know to answer questions and for myself. If I just close Trader Evolution, do the fills work just the same? And it did. So I had Trader Evolution close, and I saw that trade come through the alerts, and I opened it back up, and there it was. So can confirm it's all happening completely server side. And part of me is just thinking for the 24-hour markets, will I have to have a computer or a server constantly going? And the answer is absolutely not. Once you're done, you can have everything shut down. It all just works in the servers in the cloud. So great.
Yeah, if you think FLNC is coming back down, trade that I talk about would probably be a short on Bloom Energy. But that's like, high flyer, trying to catch it right at the top, 85. But it put it in a little bit of a kind of hanging man there at that 85. We tapped it today and got above it, but we didn't really break and hold above 85.50s or 85, like kind of 30 area where we closed on Friday. So BE struggling a little bit today, but I think that's also why you're seeing FLNC just not complete takeoff, but it's going to be one that I'd be watching.
Yeah, so this specific move, again, doesn't know anything about any of these companies, but it's just looking for these wide range bars and then looking at statistically what extension over 25 years of data is the best to potentially take a short at. And it's like roughly, half an ATR above that. And, just like we talked about with the SMR and the NNE, the idea is I'm taking 10, 20% trades or 10 or 20 trades a day. I know I'm going to rewrite 55 to 50% of 56% of the time, and then let the numbers play out in the long run. Zero attachment to any one given trade or any one given day. It's the biggest thing that I think systematic trading gives you is that detachment of I'm in 4 trades. I'm in VRI. This is a daily chart I got up. This is VRI short. Doing okay with that. SMR long, that one's doing well. And an E long is doing well. And then this FLNC short. And that one be underwater, I think a little bit. It's short right below. I can actually tell you, right below 10. And yeah, these are all very small positions, but with very wide stops, because the idea is in the long run how to do that. Reddit. Tax talking about more TikTok news.
Oh, good Lord.
What are they? Let me go to the
I
street
can't
here.
handle the TikTok news, man. I was in the camp of just banning it, but that's just me.
It's wild. I saw somewhere they were doing what the Chinese see on TikTok. And it's like every 3 or 4 videos, they teach you something about like science. And like, right, they stop you and they say, okay, before you can watch anything else, you have to learn, right? How do we know the Earth is round? And who was the first to map out the moon and stuff like teach you. And then ours is just brain rot after brain rot. So
Yeah, that's how it usually goes, right? Here's Ethereum trying to do that at ETH, just jumped right back to the resistance here. A little part of me thinking about adding and then going break even with the rest, but want to see it really kind of pop above this 39.70s. Not trying to add too much. Need to see the direction continue.
Yeah, that's look at that resistance from Sunday.
Yeah, just
It's
need to
just
see it taken out a little bit, and then maybe see a pullback come back towards that area.
been going for a while.
Oh yeah. If it's gonna go, this is the area to send it. So yeah, I could add right here and then break even, but the smallest pullback gets me right back towards that, right? So just looking for that 39.70 break on ETH. Look to see if it keeps going.
Oh, U.S. official governments will not have equity in TikTok deal.
Uh,
Cool. We are confident that China has approved TikTok deal. Yeah, our boy Walter Bloomberg's just all caps ranting about TikTok.
that's so
ByteDance
so
will
cool,
hold.
man. We're gonna have TikTok back.
Oracle will study TikTok's algorithm.
Oh,
ORCL?
Oracle. Oracle's gonna go up because they know TikTok now.
Well, if they, that's the whole thing. They get the algorithm. That's the thing that's been rotting people's brains. If they can figure out how to do it, so
Dude, it's not about the algorithm, man. It's just about the style of video. You give people 5-second videos to consume, right?
yeah. But Instagram
You
hasn't done as well, and they haven't. And YouTube
YouTube
hasn't done
has
as well.
YouTube has
I think
YouTube
the,
has the
uh,
shorts have done just as good, man. And there's a reason why when you open your app now, what does it do? Immediately starts a short.
why? Yeah, I don't see any of this stuff because I've got it.
On YouTube, if you're on your app on your phone, there's no way around it, Michael. It immediately goes to that short.
Yeah, I use the browser. I've got this browser extension called Social Focus, which is amazing. You can just
Yeah.
say, I don't want to see it. I don't want, when I go to Twitter, I don't see any news. I don't see like that for you
There's
toxic
Oracle
section.
trying to go higher, so
Gone.
that could help the Qs go higher there and push. Market's still holding in there. Watch out there. You know what's hanging in there? That Agri. Still hanging
This
in
is the
there.
one that, this is the new treasury.
Yeah, dude. Something
Yeah.
tells me when they hang out here and they just keep hanging out, it's not a bad one to watch.
Well, and I think the second day after QMMM, I think it makes sense to watch that the second day play because remember QMMM, right? It did that wasn't the crazy move wasn't day one. The crazy move was day two. Like this thing, it looked crazy well before it took off. Like if you look at this as a daily chart of it, right? Just up, 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 up. And then it had this huge like 20-30% move and then boom, then it did it the next day. So
Took a little bit in the swing again on the swing account there for that Agri. Paid the price $50 earlier. I'll pay one more $50 trade on there, see if it gets going. Because especially with the evalves, I feel like the best thing is if you can get an early extension, it just feels so much better, right? If I pay the price, hey, at least I'm paying a measured risk here on this one now immediately to see what happens. OPAD kind of holding in there. I'm going to probably take an ad on OPAD and then just to see if it can go break even or start to extend because at this point it needs to go. So there you go. I tried to get it. And as soon as I get it, the offer jumped on me. So trying to get it in between the spread there.
Boxlight Corporation ripping today. Up 420%. What's this guy? Oof.
That ETH looking good. Let's start to send it.
Yeah, the whole Ethereum, I'm very interested just in this level here on Ethereum. where we solidly broke down. It all happened in one candle. I'm trying to find, I think it was an email from my buddy Louie, who's a big crypto guy, and he spends a lot of time looking at like the liquidation counters because you can see all that.
Yeah.
And it looked like there was like $1.7 billion
There we go.
Ethereum
Slight
position
break
that
here.
just liquided. So it's just like Sunday night, someone got liquidated for
All right, guys,
1.7 bill.
adding there. Now I'm back at the resistance. So at this point, I can go break even and just let this work. I got the ad on the live account here. So now it's like if it completely wants to break, it's going to come for here. I'm going to do a slight risk down towards the support. So $15 risk on the first trade. I think this is perfect. It gives me the ability to take the shot and see what happens here at Ethereum, especially off the lows, right? Because if this really goes, it can fly.
Yeah, this crypto as a whole, I'm just kind of going through the list here. I'm going through Bitcoin, and that held well and is bouncing here. Solana held well and is bouncing here. So it was a whole crypto across the board move, which again, we see sometimes. And what happens is, for those who don't know, you can go to these liquidation trackers and you can see how leveraged one side, the long side or the short side is. And it seems like a lot of the game for people with way more money than us and is just wait till people are maybe a little too leveraged up to the long side. And then they just short in one big move in order to force it down, cause the liquidation covered. Same kind of liquidity grab stuff we see in the equity market. It's just in crypto, it's just way more transparent because you can see that kind of on-chain data. You don't have to like guess where stops are. You can just see it.
All right, guys, just took the ad, and I did take the quick hit there on that agri right back down there. Just cut me out right back down. So at least it was the measured amount. Took the shot there, and we'll let it go. Looking for this ETH to start getting going here. Let's see if it gets to move here. If not, I might just cut it. It's just not really kind of sending. I want it to send really quickly to that 40, and then it can make me feel comfortable. Q's looking like they want the 600 move. Let's see if they take it. That could help tech names really get going. So look for those tech stocks that are doing well to continue doing well. A name that's recovering that I'm just keeping an eye on is like a Microsoft. I really like that trade. Meta is a name that I'd like to see go green. So METU was a name that I was looking at for a swing off the kind of the 48 level. So not a bad looking level right now on METU. There we go, moving in the right direction with ETH. Now we're up to the 77 spot there and starting to drive, right? So at this point, no matter what, I'm going to be break even in the live account here, just trying to ride the trade now, right? So at least I got that ad. And this is the hardest thing I think that's going to be important on the new account. So in the live, one of the things that I started doing a lot better of on the eValve is adding. And adding to positions, I think, is very important. You just got to do it at the right times, and you have to you be on top of your execution. But we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah, it's rough, but yeah, it's the whole right. Like I talked about with my interview with Bella, is right when it's swinging the bat hard that he talks about. That's an important thing to keep an eye on. Important thing.
Yeah, like think about like RCAT, right? Like RCAT was such a really good setup for me. That should have been a setup that I was taking at 1050s, adding at 1075s, selling it through the 11s, right? Like simple trading, but like, you know what I mean? The resistance, you're buying it on the support move. You got the exact execution you're looking for. And especially when you can like really kind of schedule out like the trade prior, that's usually when you're going to do the best on your execution side, right? So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's
have a predetermined trade and then just executing.
That's my whole premise on trading is the bot side of things. And a lot of it just went through experience and going through, and anything that I did that was seat of my pants, right? Something that I felt like I was almost forced to make a decision or something like that. Just by doing that, those were all my worst trades, right? Because they would spiral, you would get in ahead of yourself. And then there was never a trade that I planned out in advance that went horrible, right? Obviously, no, not all trades work. Only half of all trades will ever work. But Every time I said, okay, here's the exact thing that I'm going to do. Here's the game plan for it. Here's the entry, the stop loss, the position size. Every time it was planned out, that worked great. So that's how my road to systematic trading started. Because eventually it was just like, well, why don't I just always do that? Why don't I just never have to make a decision on the fly ever again and just plan out everything that I do well in advance? And then once everything was planned out in advance and working well, then it was like, well, why do I have to do it at all? Why don't I just get a robot to do it?
Yeah. Why? Why not, man? Why not, guys? Bloom Energy really coming down. I'm up on that on the day trade account. So your FLNC should be looking a lot better on the trade there. I don't know if you're green just yet, but I even like the trade now to maybe take a swing short on that. So we'll see what happens on that. OPAD now pulling back down here. We'll look to see if it goes back higher. I'm kind of holding off the $5 spot there.
I'll be right back. Someone's pulling up. Gotta shut up the dogs.
Pull up, pull up. Get after them, dogs. Bite them in the leg. All right, guys, getting after it on the day, guys. Let's go, let's go. Now focused in. Now I need to see this ETHU not come back to VWAP. Just start to push right back towards that 39.75. Go back up there to 40s, and we're looking good. FLNC up there towards the 1019 spot. So that's holding in there. Bloom Energy down there to the 8150 spot there. IonQ, definitely one of my ugly shots today that I took, but this still looks like it could turn around and come down here. We'll see what happens. Extended up there, but multiple tops in the 71 spot. Because Ethereum now back above my level here. So I'll show you guys this straight from the funded account here, guys. So let's take a look here. Your first look into the funded account here, guys. Take a look here, guys. All right, so up there to the 3970s. You guys see it live, baby, live on the screen, showing you it all. Who else shows you it all? Not many, I'll tell you that. We'll see what happens here. Can they start to pop above this, start to get above that 39.75? That's really what I'm looking for. It needs to start making this move to 40 because it could be a recovery back up into 41 and above, right? And if I get back to 41, that's a nice $300 trade there. So, hey, I'll take that, right? We'll see if we get all the way back into the gap, which is 400, but taking the trade here, trying to be small, trying to sell a piece as it breaks out today, and then hold on for the rest of the move, right? So another way we can do this is get to the 15-minute chart, right? This is one thing that I think is very important. Traders, get into the tighter time frames. It's okay to make your entry there, but after a while, get into this spot where you're feeling comfortable and the stock is in your direction, and now I can leave it on the bigger time frame and just let it keep working. We'll see what happens on this one. Looking good here in ETH. Q's continuing to rip. With that being said, I'm going to take another shot adding in OPAD here towards 5. If it gets towards 5, I don't mind add. I'm still hanging in this OPAD today. This is going to be one of the bigger trades in the new swing account that I'll be trying to cash in today.
They will continue to bark, unfortunately. So just I'll try to mute when they happen. It's the solar guys. They're coming.
Oh,
literally.
the solar guys. There's a reason why they're barking at them.
So let's look at TAN. Let's see what's going on here. Oh, well, it's actually TAN. Bringing it up here. TAN looks pretty good.
Yeah, your runner.
It's been pretty
your sun
good.
Run. Pulling back here towards the 17. Can he get another lift to 1775? That's one name to play there.
Yeah, it's hilarious that we're probably going to get this installed in the winter when I won't generate much power at all. But
why do you think they're so eager to get it installed, bro? Why do you think they're showing up?
Let's get going. But
the guy's like, we're not getting another call for at least 2 months. The snow is coming, frost is coming. So hurry the heck out, get out there and give whatever Michael Noss needs.
Get it done. Get before that government money dries up. It's like every time there's a government project to do something, I'm like, I'm in. You paying? I'm in. Let's go.
That's the idea. I mean, there's nothing wrong with taking subsidies, man. Some people view it as something negative. I mean, hey, you're going to give me money. Let's do it. Let's
Yeah, in
talk.
this case, it's a zero interest loan. So they're like, it's up to 40,000. They're like, well, how much do you want us to do? I'm like 40,000. Like that's going to generate way more power than me. Like I don't care. You getting a zero interest loan in this thing, we can max that sucker out.
Yeah, you can just send it back to the grid.
We're getting a battery installed. So next hurricane hits, we'll
Set.
just be cool. We'll be ready to go. We just don't.
You going Generac?
Well, this is just pure lithium battery. Just
Perfect.
sits inside your house,
This
and
is FLNC.
is that what they do? Oh well, maybe I shouldn't be that short them then, right?
That's what BE does, man. Bloom Energy.
The
But they're just doing it on a bigger scale, right? But
well, then, but the idea is that as soon as you get the battery, you're kind of fully off grid because the
yeah,
idea is hopefully you charge it all day, and then at night you draw from when you're not using that much power, you can draw from the battery. Then it is as a phone app. So the phone app will alert me when a storm's coming, and I'll say, yeah, don't use anything from the battery for a while, just in case we need it.
yeah.
So yeah, so far we're doing pretty well across the day trades. Let me open up Trader Evolution. I'm gonna keep it open while we're here, and then I'm gonna shut it down the second the stream does and get rid of it.
Yep. That's what you got to do.
I don't want to see. Yeah, FLNC is definitely the loser of the day. It's up to 1050 now, so that one's been the dog of the space, but everything else seems to be making up for it. It's the beauty of a lot of what I'm doing, taking so many trades, is that it's you're spreading out your risk, right? And any of these one trades, I don't really care about. We can go through them. So SMR and NE are both doing well, not amazingly, but well. I just took this ADNE. Not too sure what this thing is, but a little mean reversion long here on ADNE. I'm short VRI. That's working as well. And the only one that is not is FLNC. And just for reference, the stop on this FLNC is at $11, right? So that's very much these are very wide stops. They're, I'm not looking to pinpoint day trade entries and exit. It's just not this particular style. It's more of, again, a market maker style of things where the idea is that you're taking a lot of kind of mean reversion plays one way or another. And then in the long run, the net P&L is really all you're looking at, not any individual P&L.
All right. Definitely getting a little pullback in ETH. Also taking a look at LAC for a potential longer term swing. There's so many bottomings in the 315s that it just looks to me like it wants 4. If lithium makes a move today, I think it could get to 4. That's 75 cents up. Not bad outlook there. Ethereum just not going right now, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to cut it right now. I'm just sticking to the risk and return that I've already established, right? So just staying with it, staying with it.
Well, and right, you're trading a 24-hour market, which is why it's good you took it in the swing account. Is that it could be 2 this morning that the thing decides to wake up and move.
Yeah.
Right, it's not something that's tied to the regular open and close of the market because there is no open and close on Ethereum. It's 24/7, 365. It must be spending a fortune to signal stack. No, not really. They've got different plans out there. I'm on whatever their highest tier is, but I currently have everything being sent double, right? I have it going to the Trade the Pool account, plus I have it going to my personal account. So I just look at it as a cost of doing business. Once you have systems that work, it ends up being a fee that I'm totally fine with paying, just because there's no again, it's cost of doing business, right? If I was running a store, there would be the cost of goods that I'd have to buy in order to turn around and sell. When it comes to this, I don't ever really squawk at. As long as it's making me money, I want to use it. Now, there may be cheaper ways to do it, but they would probably do local installs, and with Trade the Pool, I don't know if there is one. So I just said, hey, let's do a lot. Let's do a lot of trades.
All right, getting that test towards the 60s here. Might get a small test there in ETH. The idea here is that this is a kind of the third bottoming area. So this is where I should see some size come in, some stops be attacked, and then the resistance test back up. So we'll see what happens. So at least it gives me the ability to look for it right there. You see what? Some size get hit, some volume get hit. Why? Stops set there, right there on the support. When you set your stop right on the support, just give it to the market maker, man. Just give it to them. You're just telling them right here, come get me, and then I'll move it back up.
I love right, that old, the saying of, right, put your stop where other people are putting their profit targets, right?
Yeah.
It's just, or yeah, because or put your entry where other people are putting their stops. You just kind of, liquidity grabs, bear traps, bull traps, whatever they're calling them these days. It's definitely a thing, right? They don't know where your order is, but they know where everybody's order is. And if
Oh
they're
yeah.
all hanging out, and they just, especially, it's the reason that things like whole numbers are still important, even though mathematically there's no reason that $10 even should be a big deal. It's just that a lot of people, like especially retail traders, say, "Oh, I'm gonna, I'll buy it if it gets over $10," and they'll put it in order, just because we think as humans in round numbers, even though a round number is not relevant at all. You'll see that sometimes with like $100 or $10 or 150. They become interesting areas of support and resistance, even though they are not relevant in any way, shape, or form. But across the board, we're doing great now. So we have the SPY up on the day. We got the Qs up on the day. We have the IWC up on the day. IWM is certainly the laggard here and had a decent little pullback there in that. But SPY and Qs doing fantastic here.
All right, getting some test here on this ETH. Definitely don't want it to break the 39.50 spot. Then it could flush towards the 39.35s, right? So just got to be careful here. We hold in and then come right back out of this. So just watching it on the 5-minute. LAC is still a name that I really do like on the upside here. So I'm just looking for a pullback towards maybe 320s, back above 325s. It would be the level for me to kind of get long and then risk off the threes. But that's just kind of lithium trade overall that I'd like to see start to get moving to. ALB could be one name that can give us some insight later today. A breakout above like 82 to 83 would be a good look.
LAES. Whatever. Seals Q? Who knows? I don't know what this thing is.
Yeah, it's a known runner in the past. It's holding well there. Got to break above 440s though.
Took a short on that guy, whatever that is. Just that open price, 456. So right where it is now, probably this prior resistance. Looking at
now your FLNC starting to pull back a little bit. Looks a little tippy toppy.
Yeah, it's been the small nuclear plays that have really been making up everything here. The debate that I'm having with myself for discretion, certainly not in taking new trades. It's not for me. Certainly not in adding to trades, because that's not for me either. I've tried that. But I'm thinking just in profit target and profit taking. Like just looking at these, and then when you get a decent move. So like if NNE ever broke through highs, right, got to 46 or something, that feels like a point where you'd kind of want to manually pull the chute. So I'm thinking about that. But yeah, FLNC is coming down a little bit. This LASE continues. LAES. Lays. This one's just up, right? So simple revision to the mean. This one's up from 2 to, it's up 86% in like a week. So the thing is, okay, maybe that's a little bit too far. Maybe you take it back, right? I'm on MBX short. Okay. Big gap on that one. MBX Bioscience. Nice look on MBX short here. Looks like it failed to take out this high right here.
There you go.
Looking at there.
Our cat reloading around 11 there, so it doesn't look too bad on that name as it tries to hold up here and then make a secondary move. Hourly candle still holding well above the VWAP.
Double check with insurance. Yeah, I know insurance and lithium batteries become hard, but I think because it's going to be in an outbuilding, I am definitely going to obviously double check with them. But I think because it's going to be outside the home, it'll probably be. So lithium fires, for those who don't know, that's one of the big problems. Is you can't put it out the normal way. You can't just spray water on a lithium fire. You got to use like this foam.
Yeah, chemical.
Yeah, so it's like a chemical out. So yeah, I wouldn't want the battery. And again, that's what I'm going to talk to these guys. They're like they fly drones over. I know they're going to tell me to cut down some trees. So that's the fight I'm going to have with them. So, set it up so I don't have to cut down any trees. I like my trees. They give me shade. They look nice.
Give
Make
me
it so I don't
love.
have to see my
I
neighbor.
hug my trees, man. You leave my trees alone.
Don't make me cut down any trees. Figure out where to put them so I don't have to cut down any trees.
Q's breaking 600 now, guys. It's slow grind up. This is a melt up. That's what I see. And it's melting. It's just slowly melting.
Again, for those who missed the opening when we talked about it, these lunatics, they shorted more last week. They shorted more here of the ES, and they shorted more of the Russell. Like, what are you guys doing? At all-time highs, massive bull market, and you guys are gonna just lean on the short side. What are you doing?
What you doing?
Like that's, and again, it ends at some point, and it ends with like a splash in the pan. Like it ends up with like a huge explosion higher of, oh man, this giant multi-billion-dollar fund got liquidated, and just an explosion higher, and then maybe we'll revert after that. But for me, until I start seeing these lines of this massive 225,000 contracts short on the S&P 500, until these start to revert back to zero and get to a more normal state, I'm leaning on them. Right? I'm leaning on them. Yeah, IWM really relatively weak. So here's the purple line. Remember we drew this on the open of the SPY. This is the high of day, or the high of yesterday. So the question is, right, we've gotten there. We opened it, we gapped down, and we just ripped to yesterday's high. I didn't think we were going to get there, but now that we're there, do we just pop right through, and that causes a little bit of this liquidation event where some of these guys say, holy crap, we're wrong? I think maybe part of the logic for them shorting more last week is there was some Afghanistan war talk back and forth, and they haven't learned what we all do, which is you buy the World War III rumors every time. Worst case scenario, there's World War III and no one cares that you bought a little bit of you met Meta the day before, and if there's no World War III, which there never is, then your stocks rip.
Looking for OPAD to get back into the green, and then I'll size up there on that OPAD trade.
What was these guys? This was one of those open sympathy deals, right?
This is just an open sympathy play. It's just like kind of going to it just because, hey, if the one's going to go, maybe the other one goes too. So
Both of them, like their daily charts look
Yeah.
like amazing. Big pop up. This is if you looked up bull flag in the textbook, you'd get this OPAD and you'd get open.
Let's go, ETH. I'm getting bored here.
The quantum guys are starting to pop here. Ion Q is back at highs. Wow. So it's back at yesterday's high here for Ion Q. My bot picked up. This is a swing QBT. That one's not nearly at yesterday's high, but still looking really good there.
GEV was one I was thinking at 624. That could have been a good idea. It's just so expensive. I haven't traded a name like that too often, but it went 5 points off of that 624. So really good look there.
CRWV.
And then E recovering, holding that 43. If it breaks above 44 here, it could start to get going.
Yeah, I mean that and SMR, and they'll obviously move together if nuclear moves. Part of the thing that I think about with this bot is I see it do that quite a bit because everything moves together. You'll often have the same bot or the same candle pattern, and that's what it's looking at for a lot of different of the same one. Like on the swing side of things, I picked up like 3 quantum computer stocks. I'm like, is that better, or should I do some sort of filtering where I can only take one from a sector at a time? So do a lot of thinking as a systematic trader, a lot of thinking, not a lot of doing stuff because the robot does the stuff, but a lot of thinking.
The way it should be, man. All right, about to get in this weighing the ETH out right now. About to get hit out on this one. Just not holding in there, but I'm going to give it a little bit here and ready to get out if it doesn't recover the 39.50s.
Yeah, it's crypto kind of across the board. So Solana's pulling back, Bitcoin's pulling back as well, and Ethereum. Apple, new day high, tax saying, yeah, nice little breakout there in Apple. This thing's just been amazing. It's one of the only ones to gap up today, so it just gapped up and got bought right off the. This open is pretty much the low of the day. That's another algorithm that I'm working on currently. Is like, what is the probabilities that if the open and the low are really, really close together? So basically, the algos just start buying it right from the opening print, and that takes place until like 11. Then what's the odds that it goes and retests that low? And I bet you that's pretty low, if I had to guess.
Mm-hmm.
And so that could be a system in and of itself. Is come 11, you just do a scan to say, okay, show me names where the open and the low are the same or very close together, and then from there you end up just taking the trades based off of that and saying, okay, well, just let me buy a basket of things that look like that with stops at the low of the day and then close them at the low. Yeah, FLNC is not being nice to me. It's reverting higher again, but everything else is doing well. Even VRI is the only short that's paying, but that's doing pretty well there. So yeah, 3 longs and 3 shorts. So the hope is that the one of either the long or the short will lose me money, and then the other side, either the longs or the shorts, will make me money at the end of the day, and one just makes a little bit more money than the other one loses. You just got yourself a net profit at the end of the day. PSIL showing up on a scanner. Psychedelics moving a little bit just for the dip and rip. Just can't get away from this anchored VWAP, the psychedelic sector. And MSOS, I'm out of this trade, but I'm actually looking to get back in. So I was talking to Brian Shannon there. He's calling this the VWAP pinch. You put a VWAP from the lows here, and it keeps every time MSOS, which is the marijuana sector, hits that, it bounces, which is the first time we've seen that in a while. And then it's kind of shelved from this VWAP from the top. So as these things kind of pinch together, the idea is you wait for one side to break. Doesn't matter which one, you take another trade there. But I'd always do the MSOX because you got a leverage version of that guy. And yeah, I had a nice little trade here already on this one. So looking to see if I can get back in, take another shot at this.
Just not getting it here on this ETH, so probably going to get cut out here for 43. Yeah, it stops there, right there. It should take it. So I'm putting it right underneath it. OPAD looking better. I got 600 there. It's starting to break to 550. That looks great to start running. If they want to buy the 550s, they got the opportunity right now. So let's see if they can push through that 550 now.
Yeah, that little wick there on OPAD where they just slammed it down there to the 480s and just recovered all in like 2 minutes.
Take one more trade from the day on the live, even though I could get cut out of this other trade. This is just off of the LAC look, and the risk here is so tight that I can take this shot here and look to see if it takes a little bit more of a move, right? So I'm going to take a little bit of a shot there and just figure out the nice risk to return here that makes sense with the low. So I need to risk through the low of the day. Okay. I think that's perfect for smaller time stock. If we can get that on the reward side, it'll still be really nice. Let's take a shot here. Long on LAC, gonna risk off the low here. Gonna go towards all the way towards the 314 on the risk.
This is also why I think the swing side of things working out so much better for you, Mitch. Right? Is when you're day trading, I notice that you're trying to be real like laser precision tight.
Yeah.
And then when you swing, you give them a little more room to breathe, right? A little more room
Yeah.
to dance.
Because sometimes you could be on the right daily chart. You're just not trading the intraday chart as well, right?
Yeah.
So
So
I think
just
that's part of the game, right?
give them that breathing room. I think is very,
Yeah.
especially in a post HFT world. Like I used to be one. I used to trade a lot like you day trade before the HFTs, where I'd be trying to like get within like 5-10 cents of my entry, and then you just get chopped up now in a
It
post
happens.
HFT world. But yeah, look at this SPY chart. This is 2 minute chart of the SPY, just constantly climbing. We talk about all the time what buy programs look like, and this
Yeah.
is what a buy program looks like. Someone flipped that on this morning when it realized that it wasn't going down on the day. Could be one of those guys who are really short and just said, we have to get out. We got to start buying this thing. So it's interesting. Now, again, this purple line right here is yesterday's high. I feel like I should maybe draw one at the prior days, the day before that higher. Let's just move this one. So this is all-time highs right there, and we are just there to a little bit above all-time highs again. So, the part of me thinks this is a big move up to all-time highs, and then eventually, we should chill out here just a little bit. But I don't know. I wouldn't make that bet. I wouldn't short in front of this. Just been a crazy market. Could be that we get to yesterday's highs and we just chill here for a while. We just start chopping back and forth,
Yeah.
and then maybe break it in the afternoon or something like that. Just such a move from open to where we are now. Yeah, like 0.5% just to get straight up there to prior highs. If the bears are going to put their foot down and try to stop us, they're going to do it right there.
All right, we'll look to see if OPAD gets going here, guys. I think we'll start to wrap up here. It's been a tough day, new account. Saw some trades that were available, back and forth action, right? Got to get after it out there, traders. We'll see what happens on the day. OPAD into the green in the new swing account and live account. Definitely RCAT should have been that first trade. I would say that was a miss today on RCAT. We'll see how that continues. It did break a 11, then come back down. That's another reason why I was looking for that 11 sell. But we'll look to see if that can just continue on the day with you, Mac, and some other trades. Anything last words for you guys out there? Fed conversation soon? Yeah.
Yeah, that's
How
what
that
I would. I was looking at that. I can bring that up and show you guys. This is the only thing I would pay attention to. So at 1 my time, so that's 12 Eastern, we've got a bunch of Fed dudes chatting. So I don't think any of these people are that important. Barkin, Hammock, Marin. I don't know who any of these people are, but that's and this other one who's starting soon. So yeah, a lot of Fed talk. Sometimes you can get these wild swings. I would just say very, very strong off the open. Probably caught a lot of bears completely off guard, considering the gap down just got bought immediately. Just, don't go too crazy when it comes to chasing this move up here. If you're kind of intraday buying, you might just want to go, okay, I missed it today. Let's circle back tomorrow and take a breath there and try to figure it out tomorrow. That's for me. Again, I've got 3 longs and 3 shorts on. I'm about flat on the day net. It's this FLNC that's really weighing me down, but I'll be totally fine if I end the day flat, just because to have shorts that are not killing me in a market that looks like this, I'll be happy with it. So.
All right,
Lastly,
guys.
I just want to do one more. Just look here on Bitcoin and just show the area of import, right? Which I think is 112 and 110 to 112. We're hanging right above that. So for the crypto guys, just pay attention to that, right? I think everything that happens above 110 is kind of noise. So don't get too excited to the short side or the long side.
Yeah.
Perfect world. We dig in here, we dig in above 110, and that just ends up being a little bit of a shake the bulls, and we end up ripping back through. I agree with your trade, Mitch. Just might have been a little early.
Yeah, I think another thing is, so I'll show you exactly what I'm kind of measuring it off of, right? So a lot of times we get these bullish engulfing patterns, right? And then we'll get like a pullback into that area. So if you look at here, right, you got this bullish engulfing pattern right here, right, on the 5, right? So we came back and we tested this spot. A lot of times on the bullish engulfing candle, you have like this candle here, and I usually put a support there, and I don't want to see that break. You see how we approach that and kind of pushed back off of that level. I was even having my stop right there at 39.42s, because if that breaks that trend, this kind of expansion up was just given up, right? So now you're pulled back on it. Now I really need to see it get back above VWAP, which is this light blue line here, and the green line, which is the 9 EMA. You curve there, it'll start looking a lot better, right? So we'll see what happens on it.
Well, this is a good question to leave with. Why am I happy being on the wrong side of my trades? Because I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen for the rest of the day, right? So
Yeah, that's the truth.
right?
Right.
Everything I do, I've got 25 years of back tested data behind, and having that broad view of over the long run, these shorts that aren't working today will work out over that 25-year period with about a 57% win rate, which is, I've never personally seen a strategy that works consistently, is not overfitted with higher than like a 60 some odd percent win rate. So as soon as I hit that, you get very detached about any individual trade. Again, I got 6 trades on, 3 are working, 3 are not. It makes about an even day. There's a world in which that happens quite frequently, where the shorts come down a bit and the longs hold or something like that, and it ends up being a positive day. But and I encourage everyone to do that. However you end up doing it, I do it through back testing and quantitative statistics. But however you need to take that long-term view, do it, because there is nothing that anybody knows about what's happening next in any given trade ever. And if anyone tells you they do, they're trying to scam you. Run away. All we're doing is playing for the probabilities. So if these work, great. If they don't, fine, right? There'll be more trades tomorrow.
Yep, that's what it's about, guys. At the end of the day, you're here to play the odds and play them often, right? That if you're only for one-time trade, well, trading might not necessarily be. Trading is considered buying and selling, right? So it's not just one trade, guys. It's a mix of that, right? So we'll see what happens on the day. Definitely a strong day to start the day. Doesn't mean that we won't go into chop for the rest of the day, but the Qs continuing higher. That's where I'm seeing the strength, right? Technology. We'll see if that can continue to lift off. AMD was a name that I liked earlier that I just never got on the rip, and it's just staying up there. So that's one name that I'll look to see if later in the day, I just see it just continuing to drive, right? Those types of the stocks that you want to be looking at and seeing those names continuing to drive. Of course, Tesla was one of those names we saw drive, and what is it doing? Sidestep here at the top, right? So good still strength in the overall big boys. Let's see what the big boys can keep this party going longer in September. See you next time, of course, right here.